The way I feel. Sometimes it's too hard to sit still. Things are so passionate, times are so real. Sometimes I try to chill, mellow down, blow a smoke.
Welcome to the Ted and Paul Show.
Yeah, baby.
Divisional week.
Last 4 games. What do we got?
Yeah, we got four games this week, 2 games next week, and then 1 game. We got 7 NFL games left. That's it. Let that sit in for a minute.
I don't like hearing that. Kind of makes me down.
Yeah. All right,
USFL, where you at?
Let's jump back to Super Wildcard Weekend as much as I don't want to, but we're going to hold ourselves accountable once again. Myself, I went 2-5, but my man Paul went 3-2. So overall, that puts myself at 54-46, and my man Paul at 63-55. So we're still in the green.
I'll take it. Always in the green, baby. Stay in the green.
All right. So as we have our meteorologist hats on, let's go ahead and start with the forecast that we have. We start with Saturday. We have the 1 against the 4. That's the Tennessee Titans and Cincinnati Bengals. Then the nightcap, we move over to Green Bay hosting San Fran. Moving down to Sunday, we have the Rams traveling to Tampa Bay. And then closing out the weekend, we have Buffalo traveling to Kansas City.
Cannot wait for that one.
I think they're all great matchups. I don't really see anything too lopsided. Spreads are pretty tight for the most part. Pickings. Lines haven't moved a whole lot, and it's tough. We've been scratching our heads on this, so enough with the scratching. Let's get to it, my man. What do you got for your first pick?
It is a head scratcher going in. There's a lot of games, very, very tough spreads. So I'm gonna kick us off with a game that is it's gonna be a game time decision. I'm pretty much making the pick as we speak here. Also follow at the Ted and Paul Show _ in between each letters. It's right here. Because I may change on this. This line is the only line that's been moving Cincinnati. This line has moved from -2.5 to -3.5. Right now, it's looking like -3.5, which I don't like. So I'm just gonna go into this, and we'll talk about it later. Tennessee can dominate in the trenches, right? They can dictate this game script. Cincinnati, they lost their defensive tackle, Larry Ogunjobi, and we're not sure about their defensive end, Trey Hendrickson. That's a huge hit going against a team that relies on the run, right? Tanny throws 1 touchdown maybe a game for 150 yards. I think he has 21 touchdowns maybe on the year. This team relies on the run. They rely on dictating the game. Cincinnati is 4th worst team in the first quarter, and they are the 2nd to last worst team on first downs. This is where Tennessee thrives. Tennessee can get out to an early lead on the back of that run game and just carry it all away. That's what they've done all year. They've been very quiet. They've been always in games with their defense. Tennessee has a decent defense. Nothing against Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. I loved watching them last week beat the Raiders, even though I didn't because I was on the other side of it. But Cincinnati has been great at home all season. They are very unproven on the road. And then look at Tennessee. Only 15% of this season have we had the triplets out on the field. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
we finally get Derrick Henry. We finally get Julio Jones. We finally get A.J. Brown all on the field. He's expected to start. He's expected to go. And not for nothing, Ted, if we don't get Derrick Henry, we get Donta Foreman. It doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but Tennessee will dictate this game. Anyway, get into the pick. I'm going to say Tennessee covers the spread at -3, maybe 3.5. I'd like a little extra time to make that decision. If it goes any farther than that, I would go to the other side. I think this is it for Who Day Nation in Cincinnati. I can see Coach O and LSU and Joe Burrow. Take it easy on that cigar, boy. But I'm gonna take the experience of Tannehill and Mike Vrabel at head coach here. And cover the 3.5.
That was a shitty Orgeron impersonation right there, motherfucker. No, real shitty.
It was brutal. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't smoke a cigarette before I came down. I should have.
I'm with you on Tennessee covers. I think so. I think this is the end of the road for Cincinnati. I think they're a year or two away from being a real major threat in the AFC. Not to take anything
100%.
away from them. They're great, but like I said, for me, it's their defense that kind of worries me, and especially losing their stud defensive tackle when you're going up against a team who has a stud horse back there who's going to be running the ball. And then their corners. I think they have Eli Apple, some guy that Cam Sutton maybe who they got from Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then I don't even know the other one. So they're not. AJ Brown is a different animal. Julio Jones is a different animal as well. I don't think they can contain it all. You mentioned the Tennessee defensive line. They're absolute studs. Cincinnati has given up the most sacks in the NFL. And then that Tennessee defensive line, they have 3 players who have 8+ sacks. It's crazy. I don't see this as a good matchup at all for for Cincinnati.
Yes.
What's his name? Jeffrey Simmons is just a monster in the middle. Dude got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, but he demands a double team each time.
Yes.
And then I do not like how the game ended for Cincinnati against Vegas last week. They could have gave that game away. Not only from that last drive,
right,
but it was
100% multiple times.
Yeah, they just kept letting them back into the game. They kept leaving the door open. You can't do that against good teams. Yeah. And then the one differential that I really like for Tennessee is recent playoff experience. I think this is their 3rd year in a row getting to the playoffs. They've been to the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. They've been bounced in the first round. They've experienced that. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. I just think this game might be just a little bit too big for Cincinnati. I could see Cincinnati covering. It wouldn't surprise me too much. But I'm rolling with the Titans on this one as well. I like them in this situation. And then one other thing, Lincoln's lock is back again. My man has 3-0 on
what do we got,
Lincoln locks. Lincoln's going Cincinnati and the under.
What do we got?
He is a homer to Cincinnati, so take it for what it's worth. Right. But he's got Cincinnati in the under this week.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're both on Tennessee.
Nice. You want to go to San Fran, Green Bay? I'll go to San Fran, Green Bay. I didn't want to do it this quick because I was nervous about this game, but let's talk about it. San Fran going to Green Bay. San Francisco is awesome against the run. Joey Bosa is going to play. They can get pass rush. They can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. They are one of the best in the leagues at having long, sustained drives. We saw it in Dallas. We saw it the last few games when Jimmy G was finally back and healthy. The Green Bay Packers are 0-3 in the playoffs, straight up against San Fran. Straight up. So, going along with those long, sustained drives. And don't forget, Green Bay is going to have their healthiest defensive line they'd had all year. They're getting players back. They've rested. Aaron Rodgers has now rested for 3 weeks because he didn't even play week 18. I'm going to go under the 48 points here in Lambeau. Not to mention, it's going to be 0 degrees. Since 1960, that's 80 years, Ted. Every game played below 10 degrees in Lambeau has gone under.
Wow.
80 years. Jimmy G hasn't played a game under 30 degrees since high school.
I heard that, and I was like, I don't believe it.
I was like, I didn't believe. I was like, I don't think that matters too much anyway. I'm going under the 48 points. Okay, but I'm also adding this. Aaron Rodgers is 68 and 37-4 against the spread at home. He is one of the best, always has been the best at home. I know they barely squeaked a win out in San Francisco earlier this season. I say Green Bay Packers cover the 5.5. The world is on San Fran. That's why this line is not moving. Vegas knows what it's doing. You said something like 84%. I looked it up before you even texted me that at the time earlier this morning when I was at the shop. It was at 78%. Everyone is betting San Fran. I'm going to go against the grain on the line. Green Bay covers 5.5. I wouldn't be surprised, my man, if it's 28-13 final.
Yeah,
I can see a blowout going on right here. There's a million reasons why what I just said isn't going to happen, and that's why I think it'll happen.
Touche.
Back to you, my brother.
All right, back to me. Back to your picks. I'm going Green Bay, and I'm going with the under as well.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
A lot of the same reasons. Right. So they played back in week 3. Green Bay snuck out of there 30-28 victory.
Yeah. 30 seconds left.
Yeah. San Fran thought they had it won. Yep. Rodgers is 0-3 against the Niners, but that dates back. Since Jimmy G's thumb injury in week 16, he sat out a couple games. However, the games he's played in, 2 touchdowns to 5 interceptions is his ratio. He threw one. What? I don't even think he threw a touchdown against Dallas. So they're getting by their run game and their good defense, but the defense is not lights out. And the run game's good, but it's not lights out. So I think they've gotten by just enough. I know Shanahan's a great play caller and he can get creative. But to your point, Green Bay has gotten extremely healthy. I think they're getting Jair Alexander back, one of the best corners out there.
Yeah.
And then Zadarius Smith, one of the best interior edge rushers, is coming back as well. So they're as healthy as they can be. They're rested. I do get nervous with those 1 seeds coming off a little bit too much rest. You're at home. There's a lot of pressure, but I think this is Rodgers' year regardless. So if this is going to be his year, he's going to have to step on San Fran. 6 points, 5.5. That's a lot. I can see him winning by 4 and San Fran covering, but you're right. I think everybody's just on San Fran. It's a good story.
Loading.
I don't see it happening, but I'm with you on both of those as well. So 3-3 on picks. So I'm with Green Bay in the under and Tennessee. This could be good. This could be bad.
I like this. Could be good or horrible.
Where are we going to next?
I don't know where you want to go. You set me up last time. Let's go. Let's go to Tampa because it's warm. It's fucking, excuse my language, Gramps. It's freezing where I am sitting.
Yeah,
it was 11 degrees outside. So let's dance in Tampa. Let's dance in Tampa. Tampa hosting the Rams. Look, this one was the easiest for me, and I don't really like that either. So here we go. Tampa Bay, really good run defense. The Rams, really good run defense. Tampa, a very beatable secondary. The Rams, very beatable secondary. So in that situation, who you going with? The GOAT? Or are you going with Stafford?
Yeah, I hear you.
Straight up. Before I say anything else, Brady is 60% against the spread when it's a pick 'em to -3, including 9-3 against the spreads in playoffs. Stafford is below 30% against the spread, playing above 500 teams in November or later, including 4-33 straight up in that time. Okay,
that's a Detroit Stafford.
It doesn't matter
with a Detroit roster.
With the wide receivers, but we're including Megatron in there.
Yeah,
this dates all the way back to that.
Yeah,
is this a payback game from week 3 when the Rams got the best of our Buccaneers? 34-24, beat them by 10 points. That was in LA. Tampa Bay is going to need their supporting cast here. Why? Jalen Ramsey is going to be on Mike Evans. That's like in math class where you just cross both of them out and you don't have to worry about them. That's what worries me about this bet, but that's what makes my under 48 bet.
Okay.
I do like the under here. We have seen how to beat Tampa a few times in the regular season from a few surprising teams, including the Saints, my Washington Redskins football team, Admirals, Pigs, Hogs, Red Wolves, whatever they become to be. However, there's not a shot I am betting against the GOAT to not cover 2.5 points in the house, in the playoffs. Bucks cover 2.5. The score stays under 48. I can tell by your nostrils that you might not be leaning the way I'm leaning. What you got? Yeah. You just know some Ajax, my brother?
Yeah, man. All right. So this game has been, I just decided it right before you started talking. Yeah, just finally circled it. I've been teetering back and forth.
As soon as you started talking,
no, it was right before.
I hated everything you said, so I'm gonna go.
It was right before you started rattling stats. I was like, you know what? I'm just going with it. Before I didn't want any influence. Good rundown.
Yeah.
So, couple data points I have. So both teams, points per game, they rank 3rd and 4th. At 34 points per game and 31 points per game. And then points,
I didn't know it was that high.
Points allowed per game. They both rank 1st and 2nd at 11 and 15. You take a look, though, at some of the opponents that Tampa Bay has faced. There's some real shitty opponents. Atlanta, Carolina, the Jets. But they're beating those teams handedly, right? But that's why those numbers might be so inflated. I'm going against the grain. I'm doing like the number one rule that you shouldn't do. You should never bet against Tom Brady. However, I'm taking Rams. If I get them at 3, I'm taking the Rams at 3. Okay. And with that being said, I'm going with, I think that Rams team is clicking at the right time. They handled Arizona. The defensive line looks incredibly good. And then that Tampa Bay offensive line is banged up. I think Vaughn, Aaron Donald, I think they're going to wreak havoc. So Rams did beat Tampa Bay earlier this year. I think it was week 3 as well. That was a lifetime ago. But at that game, that was Tommy's least amount of time he had to throw the ball was during that game. And they got beat by 10 points. I think the time is right. I think the weapons that the Tampa Bay is lacking is going to come through and hurt them. However, Tommy's going to do what Tommy's going to do. We'll see what happens. I'm taking the points on this one. I'm going with the Rams. Sorry, Tommy. We'll see.
No.
Sorry, Teddy. I don't know.
I hear the Buffalo going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right, I'll touch this goddamn game. I'll hang the piece of chocolate cake in front of Andy Reid. And I love Andy Reid. Before I get into this, I really do love Andy Reid. I loved him a lot more since he left the NFC East. But that whole press conference with the chocolate cake thing, it reminded me, it was like Martin Lawrence in Blue Streak when he's pretending to be the pizza guy. It's like leaving candy around me. It's not going to be all right. I'm going to chomp it up. That's Andy Reid right there. However, he's not going to like what I'm going to have to say. Well, he might. I don't know. This was my toughest game to pick. This is the game that we are all, not all, but we're looking forward to this game. This is a perfect cap of the divisional, the divisional championships. This probably should be a conference championship game. This is a rematch from last year's conference championship game in which Buffalo ripped out to a massive lead, and in losing it after a few pick sixes, I think they lost 51 to something. It was a wild game. Anyway, both teams are on fire offensively. Both teams move the ball. Both teams have had massive character changes within the last few weeks, let alone the past 2 years. So talking about their last few matchups, which all the past 3 have been awesome, doesn't mean anything. When we're looking at the Bills, what Bills offense shows up, which which Bills offense will show up? Which will it be? The Bills beat the brakes off of the Patriots. And we know the stats. What do we have? 7 straight touchdowns without a field goal, without a punt, without a fumble, without a this. That's not going to happen Sunday. It's not going to happen. However, we saw them finally using Singletary. We saw them establishing a run game a little bit. Even with Josh Allen, they were letting him do his thing. Singletary, went for 16, 80 yards, 2 tutties, maybe. I'm pretty sure. Which we also saw in the last few games of the season. I don't have much on Kansas City. Kansas City is absolutely on fire. They are a completely different team than I thought they were for the beginning of the season. I mean, they're covering spreads. They're at a rate that they have never done before. They're putting up points in the past 5 weeks that they haven't done in, let alone the first part of this season, last season. That being said, I am going to do an over. I am going to go over 54 points. I think these two teams are going to go punch for punch for punch for punch. And my Super Bowl pick was Buffalo. Buffalo's getting 2 points. I'm going to take the 2 points here. I'm going to take Josh Allen. Listen, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You didn't do it last year. This year is your year to do it. Go out and do it, or else we probably won't have this conversation ever again. Bills +2. Over 54.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that total. How I started at 55. I was like, wow. But
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for the playoffs. I mean,
they could easily run it up and hit 60.
Yeah, of course.
So we're in lockstep this week. Let's go Buffalo.
Yeah, baby.
Hey,
come on.
Hey,
Buff up. Where's Corey? My boy Corey. Buff up. Buff up.
Buff up. I'm rolling with the Mafia. The motherfucking Mafia. Josh Allen, if you took a Viagra last week, or if you took a couple Viagras, go ahead and take another one. Just
do it again.
Pop another one of them bad boys in.
No cup. That's probably why no one would tackle him in New England. Like I said before, he's running around with a big old bonner, no cup. Everyone's like, yo, I ain't touching this fucking guy.
So Kansas City suspect. Big deal last week. He beat Pittsburgh. Okay, fucking hobbled Roethlisberger, depleted defense, whatever. I ain't looking too much into that. Like you mentioned, Buffalo lost in this game last year for the AFC Championship game. Stephon Diggs stayed on the field and watched the entire celebration. Just let that stuff just fester all season.
Good point.
Both teams average a shitload of points.
Yeah, it's
so
ridiculous.
Last game I said the Rams and Tampa Bay are 3rd and 4th in points at 34 and 31. Well, 1st and 2nd are Buffalo and Kansas City, and they're averaging 47 and 42. They're averaging over 40 fucking points a game.
Wow.
That's like college level right there. So there speaks to your over. But then with this, with Kansas City being suspect, with Buffalo being in revenge mode and Buffalo having a much better defense, I'm rolling with Buffalo on this with the points. I think they cover this one, and if they're going to cover it, they better fucking win the game.
You better win it. Win the game.
And get out of there. I think they're playing really good at the right time. You mentioned they did find that run game. I saw some stats today. I think it was like after week 7 of this year, they've really turned on they're averaging like double. They used to average around 40 yards per game. They're averaging about 80 yards per game on the ground, getting touchdowns, feeding that run game, having the balance. And then Josh Allen, use your legs, my man. Use your dick, use your legs, whatever it takes. Use your arm. Let's just make this work.
Your third arm.
Yeah, third arm, third eyebrow, whatever.
Let's go, whatever you got.
But yeah, I'm rolling with Buffalo on this one. I think they cover and potentially win it. Here on the Ted and Paul Show, we don't advocate for any type of irresponsible gambling. Any picks or recommendations on this show are not binding by any means necessary.
However, if you would be so inclined and you win, say, hey, Ted and Paul sent you. But if you lose, keep it to yourself. And as always, peace and love. Enjoy the playoffs. Drop it, Rooney.
Mad liberator, death operator. rock this data. Amazing flavor. Yo, the way I feel. Sometimes it's too hard to sit still. Things are so passionate, times are so real. Sometimes I try to chill, mellow down, blow a smoke.